Hi, I'm Jess, and welcome to my podcast, Wool in My Coffee, where I share my knitting and fiber arts. You can find me on Instagram as Wool in My Coffee, and I'm also on Ravelry as Yarn in My Coffee. All of the show notes for this video and others are down below in the video description. I changed things up this week. I got tired of kind of being in that corner where I was filming before, and I decided to move around the studio a bit and see if I can find maybe some better light, maybe like a better backdrop. This side is where I keep a lot of my inspiration on my wall for what I'm sewing. My desk is right here that I sew and do all my writing and stuff on. And behind me is my huge banquet table that I tried to make it not as boring. Normally it's pretty blank, and I usually do my like sewing or my ironing and my cutting on that one. But yeah, so I changed things up a little bit this week. I'm kind of hoping it looks a little nicer for the video. We'll see. This week I only have a couple things like last week to mention. I do have a whip that I worked on. Well, I actually worked on 2 projects since the last episode, so I didn't do a ton of knitting on my other projects, but I did finish a project. So that was like one thing I was really trying to focus on, was getting something finished this week, which was my socks. So those are fully off the needles as of 9 o'clock last night. And I made a funny little mistake on them that I was going to fix, but I decided to just leave it. It's fine. You'll see. And then the other thing I worked on was something really cute that it's technically finished, but there's more to the pattern that I can finish. So I guess like part of it's finished, part of it's not. But yeah, so one whip, I have one finished object. I have a little, I do have spinning. I'm not actively spinning right this moment, but I am currently prepping for my next spinning project, which I haven't spun in it's been months, if not at least a year. So I'm anxious to get my wheel out and clean it up. It's been collecting dust. It's a mess right now. And I'm actually this summer, I'm planning to not necessarily replace it, but I'm hoping to get a new one. I don't know if upgrade would be the right word, but I'm planning to get a better quality wheel. My wheel that I spin on right now it's pretty old. I don't think they're made anymore. It's by the company Heavenly Hand Spinning, and it's called the Fidelis wheel. Some of you might be familiar with it. The wheel itself is like a bike tire or a bike spoke. What's the word? I don't know the word I'm trying to think of. But it's the wheel inside the bike. The spokes. So it looks like it's handmade. It does the job. I've been using it for several years now, but I'm kind of ready to get I just want a new wheel. This one's really limited. I can spin down to fingering weight yarn on it, if I'm really careful, but it usually does worsted, DK, heavy worsted. But yeah, so I'm hoping to replace that this summer. I'm gonna buy it for myself for my birthday in June. I don't know which one I'm looking at still. I have a couple wheels that I'm back and forth on. I think one of them was the Ladybug, which I believe is by Shocked. And then the other one, I don't remember the name offhand. It's the one I'm actually thinking about getting. But, so yeah, new wheel this weekend. Or not this weekend, I wish. A new wheel this summer. So yeah, I have a little bit of spinning. I have a little bit of whips, a little bit of finished. I have a current book I'm reading that I might share at the end. And I think that's what, oops, I don't know if I did that. That's my spinning project. So I'm gonna dive right into my whip. This is the whip that's kind of finished, kind of not. And last week I had mentioned that I was about to cast on because I thought it was just so cute. And it's not normally something I would normally knit, but I needed something a little bit different that wasn't socks, shawls, cardigans. I wanted a small car project. And it's currently in this bag by Knotty Gnome. And so let me show you the whip part of it first before I show you the actual finished part of it. So this is the Leave Gnome Stone Unturned by Imagined Landscapes. So I'm like reading my notes. It is a plush gnome. Well, actually, I'll just show it now because why not? He's just too cute. It'll make sense. But yeah. So this is my little gnome. I started him on Friday, I believe. No, not on Friday. I started him whatever last episode. So it was Tuesday. I think I started him Tuesday night last week. But yeah, I gave him a little, oops. I gave him a little pom-pom. He's got a little pocket, which I think I'm going to crochet some really tiny cookies to put in his little pocket. I decided to, the pattern calls for like the white beard with the white hands and nose, because I guess the beard is like one piece, but I decided to be adventurous and I changed the nose color in his hands. I have his arm tucked under right now because it keeps wanting to go like out, but he is so cute. I am obsessed with these little patterns. I'm probably going to make a couple of these for Christmas this year, even though it's February. I'm already kind of like mentally planning ahead. I figure if I'm in the mood, I'm going to start working. So he's technically finished. He does come with a little tiny gnome that you knit that doesn't have a beard, and so I'm debating if I want to knit him or not. I might just leave him as is, but I don't know. I think it's gonna be kind of cute if I do end up doing the small one. I was gonna do like opposite colors, so like the little gnome would have the yellow body, and then he would have the purple hat. So I don't know, or I might maybe do like the stripe that's in here for his body. So the yarn that I used on this guy was this is Hedgehog Skinny Singles Fool's Gold. This Fool's Gold yarn has been like kind of making its way around all my projects, all my scrap projects. So I'm getting good use out of this scheme. The beard, I believe the beard is, let me see here. It is Madelinetosh. No, that's not it. Hedgehog Fiber Sock Teacup. It's got like little flecks of pink and such here and there. That was just kind of a ball that I had kind of floating around my stash. And then his body, the main part of his body is actually knit with a Zauberball Crazy. And the colorway is the Fliederduft, 16.99 Fliederduft. I thought it would be kind of neat to see the gradient, and it worked really well, I think. And I'm actually pretty impressed that his arms were able to somewhat match. I was afraid that I would have like one dark arm and like one light one, but I got lucky, I think. And then the stripes, there's like 3 stripes, and then the bottom is spun right round. I believe it's her classic sock in Apparition. That's another yarn that's been kind of just like traveling around my projects. But yeah, oh, and the pink is Madelinetosh, Tosh Merino Light, and I believe the colorway is Barb Deserved Better from the Stranger Things. I think it was like a Stranger Things nod. But yeah, it's really cute. He turned out adorable though. And then the pom-pom's just a mix of like scraps that I put together. I even threw some like mohair in there to make it kind of like puffy. But yeah, so he's finished. And it's really funny, I learned, it's like no matter how long you've been knitting, you always like have room to like learn. And this little project, I actually did a couple new stitches and a couple new techniques. Like the bobble, his nose is a bobble, and I've never done a knit bobble before, like ever. I've never really had a pattern that required it. Another stitch that I had just never done was a center double decrease. It's like, it was something new to me. And then let's see here. There was I think it was a knit front back M stitch where you knit into the front stitch like you would, and then instead of knitting into the back stitch, you just basically slip the stitch off through the back loop. That was something new, like to me, that I've never tried before, but I had a lot of fun. I'm definitely going to be picking up some more of these patterns. I think I'm going to pick up her, what is it? Your Own Adventure gnome pattern. There's like different, you can pick like the different beards, and you can pick like the different body sizes or body shapes or styles, and the hats. And I think that might be kind of neat for Christmas gifts, because then I can kind of mix and match for who. And then the other pattern I really want to get is, I don't remember the name of it. If I remember, I'll put in the name, but it's one of her other gnome ones. She's got like a million different gnome patterns. I think it's the one with the leaf, beard, and then it has like the it's like some really neat design of the hat. I am still working on his bag. So this is the whip part of this project. I'm still working on his bag. This was another technique that I learned in this project, was the Estonian braid, and it's right at the top. The bottom of the braid is a little messy, but the top is really nice. I've never done one before. When I started this gnome, I thought I would just try like all the techniques, and she gives you the option on this pattern to do it's set for the Estonian braid, but she gives you the option to do just like a garter ridge. And at the last minute, I almost bailed on the Estonian braid, but I decided to just try it and see what happens. It's only like the second, it starts in the second row, so I thought if anything, if I don't like it, I could just start over, so it really wasn't that bad. I still have to block this guy, this little piece. I'm working on the straps right now, but yeah, it's so cute. So it's gonna go on his little backpack. Oops. So he's gonna have a little backpack with straps. It's adorable. Like, I'm definitely gonna have to knit a bunch of these guys. And this one I knit on size 1 needle. I just got a size 1 circ in the mail, I think about a week ago. I got it to do my sock cuffs. And I really like how this knitted up with the fingering weight yarn and the size 1. And so I'm kind of debating if I want to try doing socks on size 1. I usually do them on size 2. I definitely will be using the size 1 for cuffs to see if my cuff fits a little better on my socks, but I might cast on a toe-up sock just to see how it knits up and how it fits. Maybe do like a couple inches of the actual sock and try it on. I've noticed, which I'll show you in a second, I have my finished socks. I noticed that they still have a little bit of like, they're a little bit loose still, and I don't necessarily want to go down. I usually do a 72 stitch sock, and I don't necessarily want to go down to a 64 stitch. Since the size of them in general fit really nice, I just want my knitting to be a little bit more tighter with some negative ease. And so I'm still kind of debating if I want to try it or not. I'm not sure. I mean, it does nothing if I don't try it. There's no harm in trying. So moving along to my finished socks. I'll show you the mess up. So I finished these. I did Afterthought heel. They're 72 stitch socks. I did try them on a couple times, so they're kind of covered in golden retriever hair, like usual. And if you notice, my cuffs don't match. So I was at my daughter's school, I believe, waiting for her at the in the parent pickup line, and I had finished this, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna jump right into my cuff while I'm here, and without even thinking, I forgot that I was doing contrasting toes, heels, and a cuff. And I didn't even realize until after I finished my heel last night that the cuff was different. And I actually debated on picking up all the stitches and like cutting the cuff off and just re-knitting it. I started picking up a lot of the stitches, and I was just kind of, I'm like, you know what, it's fine. I think it's kind of fun. It adds a little bit of a little quirkiness to it. It shows that they're hand knit, you know. So I'm gonna leave it. I'm not too thrilled with the cuffs on these. Like I said, I really wanted to try the size 1 needle. So this is all with size 2. Oh, and the yarn is, so the dark green contrast, that is my own hand-dyed yarn. And then the striped yarn is by Vista Dyeworks in her Viso base. And it is the colorway Alyssa Zombody Edwards. And so, yeah, contrasting, I thought it was really cute. I don't know if I'm going to do the contrasting cuffs on my neck socks. I kind of like how these look without it. It's like you don't see the cuffs usually, because I usually wear jeans anyway, so it's like, but yeah, so I was gonna, you know, what was I talking about? Totally lost track of where I was at. Anyways, I'll just keep going. So I did Afterthought heel. I did the true Afterthought heel, where you mark your row, pick up your stitches, and then you snip the middle thread. I really enjoy cutting that thread. I don't know why. And then like picking the stitches out. It's really satisfying. It used to scare the crap out of me, but I've gotten kind of used to I have no fear now of doing it. But yeah, I think I remember what I was talking about. The cuff. I've got like something in it, like fuzz. The cuff is really nice, but it's like, it stretches really good, but I just don't like the way it looks. It's super like stretched out looking. I'm going to be doing a couple changes to my next pair, which I'll talk about in a minute. I'm thinking about doing a longer cuff. So this cuff was only 20 rounds from the heel. And then I did 10 rounds of knitting for the cuff. The cuff length is fine, like the ribbing part, but I think I'm going to extend my cuff on my next sock to maybe, I might try doing 30 rounds. I think this is roughly 2 inches, and then the ribbing is 1 inch. And so I'm really thinking about doing just a longer cuff. I'm always so afraid that I'm going to run out of yarn for some reason. And it looks like I barely touched the ball of yarn after I was done with these. So I'm like, so yeah, I'm going to try a little bit different on my next pair. I'm still trying to figure out my perfect like sock recipe, but I'm really happy with the fit of these minus the cuff. So yeah, finished pair. And so the socks, I'm actually going to be casting on a pair of socks this weekend for the Easy Peasy Scrappy Sock Knit Along. It starts February 18th is the cast on date, and you're basically just knitting a pair of socks with scrap yarn. And I've already like measured out my yarns, or like weighed out my yarns, and kind of picked through my scraps. I happen to have like tons of blues and greens and purples, so the socks are actually gonna look really nice for being scrappy socks. I did post a picture on my Instagram, if you happen to follow me on there, of kind of my picks for this. But I'm going to try a couple things different with this pair. And I'm going to do cuff down instead of toe up, which I usually prefer to do toe up. But I've been getting really comfortable with Kitchener stitching, or the Kitchener stitch. And I'm actually really enjoying doing Kitchener. And so before I kind of avoided it for a couple reasons. I didn't really avoid Kitchener stitch, but I avoided doing cuff down socks because, one, I have really big feet. They're 11 inches long, size 12 women's. And so usually if I only have so much yarn, I like to knit from the toe up. So once I get past the heel, I kind of have an idea of how much, like how tall I can make the cuff without like running out of yarn. But I want to try doing cuff down because I want to see if that changes the cuff for me. I do the Jenny's bind off, stretchy bind off, which works great. But I want to try a couple things different. Like, yeah, I want to do cuff down on the next pair. So I figure I'm going to use this scrappy pair starting Saturday to just kind of experiment a little bit more. But as far as like the foot of my sock, I'm definitely going to stick with what I did this time, which was I knit the toe to the heel 2¼ inches shorter than my entire foot. So instead of like, I know most patterns will say like knit for like 2 inches less, but I decided to add an extra 1/4 inch for a little bit more snugness, and the fit turned out like perfect. So I'm gonna do cuff down with a longer cuff, and then I'm gonna do my same from the heel. I'm gonna do 8.75 inches. Yeah, before I do my toe, if that makes sense. But yeah, I really like them. They fit great, so I'm pretty happy. I would give them like, I'm like 90% happy with these socks. So it's just now I just have to work out the cuff. But yeah, so the knit along starts on February 18th, and it's hosted by Everything Shapes Us on Instagram. I actually found about the knit along through a Facebook knitting or Facebook sock knitting group I'm in. And I haven't really done any knit alongs this year, even though it's only February, and I've just been kind of craving knitting something with like a group of people. So I'm kind of excited about them. I was going to kind of jump ship on it because I wasn't 100% sure if I felt like knitting another pair of socks right now. It's kind of like every time I finish a pair, I get really frustrated with like something, and I'm just like I don't want to knit them again. But I'm so close to having that perfect pattern, so I'm just going to like, I think once I cast on Saturday, it'll be fine. I'll do it. I'll enjoy it. But yeah, so finished socks. I am working on a spinning project. Like I said, it's been quite a bit of time since I've jumped on my wheel. But I'm currently prepping fiber for my next spin. And this is kind of a mix of, it's all roving top. The rainbow is already prepped. This and this is Merino roving, Merino top. And I got this from Paradise Fibres, I think last year or the year before, I can't remember. But I'm thinking about mixing it with a little bit of this like random mystery blend. I know this has got like tencel. It's probably got some bamboo, merino. It's just a mix of fibers. I had some left over, and it's funny. I've actually been picking this off to use for like plush stuffing, even though I have a giant bag of fiber fill. It's been convenient. But yeah, so I'm prepping this out. I still have to prep the mustard color, and then I have to prep this like red. But this is gonna be a really, like, I usually only spin like 4 ounces of yarn or 4 ounces of fiber at a time. So, and I prefer to do 2-ply. So I'll spin like 2 ounces on one bobbin, and then I'll do the other 2. But this time I'm doing 4 ounces for each bobbin. And I'm kind of excited. I'm aiming for a fingering weight single ply, so I can get roughly a DK or like light worsted. But yeah, and I think I'm just gonna like just throw all the colors together and mix it up. And then like the other one is already sorted, that's like behind the camera on the shelf. And I don't want them to match. I want them just to be kind of mix match. So it'll be fun. I'm planning to get this on the wheel probably this week. We'll see. I have a lot of stuff to do this week, so I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, I'm hoping to get some more progress done on my stripe bolting shawl by Stephen West. I don't have it here right now, but I was trying to think which shawl what project I can finish next. So I'm kind of in that mode where like I just want to get things off the needles. And it's mostly because Stephen West released a new pattern today that, or at least if you're watching it today on Tuesday, that like I'm anxious. I'm so anxious to cast on, and it is I think I wrote it down in my notes. It is the fragmentation shawl. It's part of his new I don't know, I think it's a shawl series that he's doing, the fragment series. And I just love it. It's like, it almost reminds you of like a broken spider web. If you've been on Instagram, and you might have seen it, but it's like literally like someone took like a round window and then they like shattered it, and so it's all fragmented. I mean, it's not round shawl, it's like the half, but it's really neat. I thought it would be a really good stash buster. And my friend from Deciduous Knits, Beth, is sending me a package of yarn. She was destashing like a bunch of her yarn, and she reached out and asked if I'd wanted some, and of course, like, you can't say no. So she's got yarn coming my way, and I'm like so excited. So I'm kind of holding off on buying yarn right now. I was planning on doing like a really small order this weekend, which I might still, we'll see. And so I am going to wait and see what goodies she sends my way. So I'm like, I definitely going to pick up that pattern though this weekend, and then hopefully get that started. I told myself I won't start any more shawls, any more projects until I get at least one more off my needles. And the stripe bolting shawl is like, it's pretty close. I think I have like 4 more or 3 more sections to do. And I know the stripe sections are like really fast to knit because it's mostly like, it's all knit stitches. It's the stockinette sections that are like, that I have to like force myself to sit down and like get through. But I think I only have 2 more of the stockinette sections left, and 2 more of the slipped or the multicolor sections. So maybe it's 4 sections left. I'm not sure. I'm dying to wear it. I keep looking at the colors, and I absolutely love the lightness of that shawl and how it's turning out. I'll try to bring it next week on the episode because yeah, I should have some work done on it next week. If not, I'm hoping to get some other, maybe like my brioche shawl. I don't know. I'm definitely gonna do some knitting. I need to get things off the needles. Maybe I'll have another gnome next week. I don't know. I'm really excited to make another one. My mom's already got her hand out for one. And my husband's aunt had commented on Facebook that she absolutely loves it, and I've never done anything for her. I've yet to actually meet her. She lives in, I believe it's Tennessee, and so I'm kind of thinking about making a gnome for her, and I'm hoping she doesn't watch this episode or my show. So if she does, surprise. I might be sending a gnome your way, Amy. But so yeah, those are all the projects I've been working on right now. I do have a book that I'm getting back to, and it is The Entangled Life by Merlin Sheldon. I am a big fungi nerd. I love mushrooms, and I'm not a mushroom eater, but I love, I'm just fascinated by mushrooms and fungi and the world of, what am I thinking? Mycorrhiza and all that. And so, yeah, I'm getting back to this. I started it last year, left it. It's so good, like so good. I just got busy and I haven't been able to get back to it. But it's basically just like the world of fungi. How fungi make your worlds, change our minds, and shape our futures. Really, really good. So I'm currently reading this. I'm also reading a couple native plant books that are for our native plant chapter. We have a couple new books that came in that we're going to be dropping off at some of the libraries to donate. And so I'm kind of reading through those just to get kind of more familiar with those books. But yeah, so that's all I've been up to this week. It's been kind of a quiet week. We are getting ready to have a big snowstorm, and it's supposed to hit at like 4 o'clock, and it's 12:30 right now when I'm recording this. And I'm hoping it holds out until at least 2:33, just so I can go to the school and pick up my daughter, because I really don't want to drive if it like hits really bad. If you've ever driven in like, or been in the middle of like a whiteout with snow, it's pretty crazy. It's really hard to drive. So I'm hoping to get home before the winter storm hits. So it's definitely gonna be like a night of knitting and staying indoors. We're supposed to be like, I think 0 degrees either tomorrow morning or Thursday morning with like a -2 wind chill. I'm like, I'm not ready. I mean, I moved, it's funny, I'm still in Arizona, and I moved from the valley, the Phoenix Valley, in 2020, so I'm used to the heat. And we've been here in the mountains for 3 years now, and I'm still like middle of winter. It could be like 13 degrees out in the morning, and I'm out wearing Crocs with no socks, letting the hens out, and I'm like this thin little cardigan. I'm still not like I'm not used to it being so cold. So it's kind of funny. I'm still like a Phoenix hot weather lizard. But yeah, so we have a storm coming. I'm looking forward to the storm once I'm home. Although I'm not looking forward to the winds. We're supposed to be getting like up to 60-mile-an-hour gusts tonight. And I'm terrified that our chicken coop roof is going to get pulled up. It did, I think, in 2020 when we had our first big windstorm. We usually get winds in the spring. And so it's like a normal thing. It's like April through June. It's like high winds. But yeah, it pulled like half, I think it was like 50-mile-an-hour gusts, and it pulled like half of the chicken roof off. And I like lost it. And so ever since that happened, I've had like I get really anxious when the wind starts kicking up really bad. So I'm hoping everything is good tonight. It should be. I went out and I checked the chicken roof, like 1,000,000 times. So it should be good. So before I end this episode, it's another short week this week. I do want to mention 2 of the things. Well, I guess I already mentioned one of the things I want to cast on, which was the Fragmentation Shawl by Stephen West. I cannot get over his patterns. I love his patterns. I like how challenging they are. But when it's like, they're not necessarily hard to knit, but they definitely take, they push you a little bit, And so I like the feeling of when I finish a Stephen West shawl. I feel really, I feel challenged in a way where I feel really accomplished. Like I'm just like I'm really proud of myself, if that makes sense. I don't push myself out of my comfort zone very often. And so by doing, I really enjoy his patterns a lot. And by doing his patterns, it's almost like I'm proving to myself that I can do hard things when it comes to knitting and like trying new things. Some of his patterns I'm like terrified of, but it's like I'm getting back into brioche, but I'm not quite ready to do one of his brioche shawls. I really want to do the excuse me hat, but I'm a little nervous about that part, so I have yet to like dive into those types of his patterns. But I like his like simple yet challenging patterns, like the Holy Chevrons, super easy pattern. I don't even know if there was anything new that I learned in that pattern. It was more of just having patience because it was I had a lot of stitches at the end. And the straight bolting is another one. None of the stitches were new to me. It's just taken me a long time. I think it ends at like close to, probably over 950 stitches, I think. And then the Aurora Cabin Shawl, I think that ends with like 1,000 stitches. So it's more of like teaching me patience. But the other thing I'm dying to cast on, I still want to cast on his Garter Marlar cardigan. I got that when I won one of the giveaway prizes, was like a $30 pattern credit. I grabbed that pattern already. And again, I'm kind of waiting to see what fun yarns that my friend sends me, which it might be here this week, but I'm kind of hoping it's like Christmas. So I'm waiting to see what she sends so I can see what I might be able to use in that project, what I want to use for socks, what I want to set aside for shawls. But so yeah, right now it's like 2 of the Stephen West patterns that I'm like really itching to cast on. But again, I have to finish a project. That's my personal goal, is to get something off the needles. And I don't want something small. I don't want it to be like socks or like the gnome. I want like a big project, like off the needles. Since our winter storm's coming, maybe I should get my cardigan finished. That seems logical, because like this is literally what I'm wearing. You can see right through it. This is literally what I wear like 24/7. It's thin, it's cold. But so yeah, that is this week's episode. It's short, sweet, a little bit of things here and there. I hope you like the new setup. I'm planning to do this next week as well. Let me know if you have a hard time hearing me on my videos. I noticed that like I had to turn my volume up quite a bit when I was doing my editing last week, and so I wasn't sure if that was like just me or if everybody had an issue. I don't have like a sound system or like a microphone or anything right now, so I'm hoping you can hear me okay. So do let me know. But yeah, hopefully next week I'll also have some spinning, at least one bobbin full. We'll see. But until then, I'll see you next week.